really appreciate that. I know Ann does too. Appreciates that. So let me go ahead and call, with that said, I'll go ahead and call the Monday, September 21st meeting of the St. Joseph County Public Library Board to order. We're conducting our virtual meeting via Zoom in accordance with our legal notice. So, and I see Augie has joined us as well. So Matt and I go ahead, and first thing is let me call the roll, and we're doing reverse alphabetical this time. We're back to that. So Marvin? Here. And let me just say too, when you say here, just go ahead and let us know too that you did receive the packet of information for today's board meeting. So,
I did receive the packet.
Great.
I have
Michelle?
right here.
Yeah.
187 pages of it.
Michelle, I see you got
Here, I received the packet.
Okay, Augie?
Here, I received the packet.
Is that the stadium behind you?
No, that's my son-in-law's other ride.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to highlight that later so I can look. Christine?
Here, and I did receive the packet.
Terry?
Yes and yes.
Yes. Ann?
I'm here and I received the packet.
And I am also here and I received the packet. So we do have a quorum, I'll note that. First order of business is to go ahead and consider the board minutes for the meeting we held last month, August 24th. That was in our packet. So hopefully you've all had a chance to review it. So first, is there a motion? I see our council has joined us.
I move to approve.
Second.
Second. Are there any additions? Motion made and second. Any additions or corrections or comments? If not, I'll call the roll. Marvin?
Present?
And yes? You?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Michelle?
Aye.
And Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry? Is Terry still with us? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Thumbs up?
Did you call me?
Yeah.
The audio broke up for a moment and I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Aye.
Apologize. It could be my connection. Ann?
Aye.
Okay. And I vote aye. Minutes are approved. Next, we'll go to our director's report.
Yes, thank you. At the main library right now, steel framing is going up on Wayne Street and at the corner of Michigan and Wayne for the entrance to the Learning Center. So if you haven't been by the site in a little while, it's changing quite a lot. We had a nice front page photo in Saturday's Tribune of the site, front page above the fold, so that was good. At the corner, they're installing decking at all levels, and they're also backfilling on the site. And as I mentioned last month, the glass block is now being removed to make way for the new window systems. So the crews started on the north, and you can see that all blockaded and are working their way around the building. And I think they're over to the south side at this point in time. And before too much longer, there's going to be a street closing on Wayne as the crews remove some of the geopiers in the right of way. So that's coming up.
Hey, Deb?
Yeah.
How were they able to save the block or did it just get smashed?
It's being recycled, but they didn't save it. To have brought it out in one piece would have been a whole lot more labor than they were prepared to do. So
Because it might have been fun for us each to have one as a memento.
Well,
one of the little blocks.
we've still got one window to go, so maybe.
I'll send an email to Jay and see if he can save some.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn.
You can sell them.
Oh,
Yeah.
We could, yes, we could. Again, it's a lot of work to get them out of there in one piece, so.
It
if
seems
it's
like
extra
they were
work, don't
saying
do
that.
it.
Oh, Augie, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I said if it's a lot of extra work, don't do it.
Yeah.
Well,
What
just to get a few out would be fine, I think, but I'm sorry, Christine.
I'm sorry too. It seemed like they were saying that they have restarted construction as if we stopped.
Yeah.
The news stories this morning was, oh, they restarted construction on the library, and I thought, when did we stop? But
Yeah, I think, you know, they've been looking for a story. They called me last Friday and I was out of the office and I never got back to them. So I don't know where they got that information, but no, we never stopped. But it was going on inside and you couldn't see anything. And now that you see it on the site, it's very evident that things are going on. So that may be why that is.
I emailed the reporter actually, and I told him
I bet you did.
that resumed wasn't quite the right word and more ongoing. So we'll see if we can get him to come back and
Yeah. Physical circulation in the statistics climbed in August, which is a sign that more people are, as you all were saying earlier, maybe just tired of the pandemic, but they're moving around more. Normally, July is our biggest month for circulation, but August outperformed July this year by just over 4,000 items. And those are small numbers, but everything is down because of COVID. And so we're looking at even that much as that's interesting that we're showing that trajectory. We still serve nearly 1,000 patrons curbside. Telephone reference is still climbing. It was over 1,000 questions compared to 2019, which I think, again, tells you that rather than coming in, people are calling us for information or for help. And online database use, which is another indicator of what people are doing from home, increased by 20,000 uses or 41% over 2019. You have a copy of a memo of understanding. I'm just keep moving on. Between several agencies, SJCPL and the school corporation, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and Venues, Parks and Arts, we're loaning them themed curriculum bags to use at all the Boys and Girls Club sites. So this is a memo of understanding that we're doing that. We're also keeping up our partnership with La Casa. That memo of understanding has been renewed for this school year as well. And then finally, you have a report about the 2020 Summer Reading Challenge. Like everything else since March, it has not been a normal summer in any sense of the word, but you'll see our employees worked hard, I think, to respond to all the challenges of how do we do this? How do we give prizes out? How do we, because we're not doing programming in person. On page 58 of the packet, that's not the page of the summer reading report, but it's 58 of the packet, you'll see a link to all the responses we got for learning track activities. So we had a lot of prompts that we gave to people in town or in summer reading saying, watch the movie and the book. What did you like better? Or it's an interesting look at what responses we got back. You'll need permission to open the file because I don't think it's a public file, but feel free to click on that and get permission and take a look at that if you want. And I think that's my report. You got a longer email from me earlier, which I think says a lot of what I would have said and even more from what the staff is doing. So.
Thank you. Any questions for our executive director? If not, is there a motion? Oh,
I just want to add another thank you for all that you're doing and how hard it is. So you and your staff.
I will pass that along because they're really working hard. Thank you.
By the way, if you don't have a subscription to the New York Times, if you see something, an article you want to, a little bit cumbersome, you only do it one day at a time, but you are able to actually go through one of the databases that is available from home and outside the library is the New York Times. So you can get it, I think, one day at a time.
Yeah.
You can get that subscription to the New York Times at home.
We have the New York Times and the Washington Post. We had the Post before the pandemic started and then picked up the Times as soon as we could after the pandemic. They were offering a way to get it to home, which hadn't been there before. So yeah, thanks, Alan.
Yeah, Ancestry is the same way. If you want to look at the library edition of Ancestry, you can also do that. Everybody wants to do those things. Okay, so let's go ahead and if there's no further comments, shall we take the roll on approving the director's report?
Well, I'll move to approve.
Oh, wait, thank you. Motion made. Would I hear a second?
Second.
From Michelle. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye when I call your name. Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Deb, your report is approved.
Thank you.
Next order of business is our bill list for September 21st. The accounts payable vouchers are listed in the registry of accounts that were included in our board packet. And I just very will ask, is there a motion to approve the register of accounts payable vouchers that are contained in our?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Are there any questions, or Nancy, is there anything you'd like to highlight for us in this?
Well, you know, I always like to highlight a couple of items. It normally, I mean, it's a general normal bill list. However, on page 2, near the bottom of the page, I would call out a payment to Jim Gill Incorporated and Kevin Wilson. These are honorariums for our most recent Boomer tour. It's really good to see honorariums and real programs, live programs happening as opposed to virtual programs. And then on the final page, there is a payment to Uline and one to the University of Notre Dame. And these were for COVID supplies. Uline, we purchased outdoor tables and benches for use at all of our city branches to help children have a space to do homework with our Wi-Fi. And the University of Notre Dame were plexiglass screens in between work areas and also between desks and the public. And we will be seeking reimbursement for those purchases. But other than that, normal bills.
Okay. Are there any questions of anything on the bill list or anything that Nancy reported to us? If not, I think the motion has been made and seconded, so why don't we go ahead and just call the roll. Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The bill list is approved. Personnel changes in our packet. I think there were 3 I counted, but I think that have left or haven't been, whatever term, or they haven't worked in a while. Kara, I see you nodding. Do you want to just give what it is?
Oh, it was just a few people who were substitutes that hadn't picked up shifts in a very long time, and we decided it was time to get them off the payroll.
Sure. Okay, very good. They were janitorial staff and part-time. Okay. All right. Was there a motion to approve those personnel changes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. I'll call the roll. Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Let's see, Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And, oh yeah, I did pin your picture for a minute. The submarine behind you. I wasn't sure, so that's pretty cool. The submarine picture, yeah, very nice. All right, so the next item of business on our agenda is reports of special library committees, and I'll just note for purposes of our minutes that, to my knowledge, there were no special board committee meetings held since our last board meeting, and therefore there are no minutes for us to learn of already. There's no reports. With respect to the next order of business is unfinished business. And once again, we have a recommendation of bid awards for our main library renovation. I think today is the turn of Larson Daniels. So does anybody want to go ahead and just take us through this?
I'll start, and then we have Glenn Pierce and Antonia Winfrey here from Bully and Andrews as well, so they can, if I screw it up, you guys can jump in and save me. So this is for package 6A, the millwork awarded to Larson Danielson, as Alan just mentioned, and you'll see their bid came in at $1,673,333 on the second page of the documentation. And then on the third page, you'll see that the team worked to value engineer some of that bid to get us a savings of $140,281, making the actual contract award $1,533,352. And this is the last of the big packages. Is that correct? We have an elevator package coming yet, but
This package has been released. This is our last big package.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, do you guys have any, I mean, Glenn or Anthony, do y'all have anything to add? Or if not, are there any questions from anybody on the board with respect to this, this award? We always like to see you kind of be able to value engineer for us to save $140,000. That's great.
Yeah, and I guess my only comments is I want to say that everyone here probably doesn't see the day-to-day operations, but the library has been instrumental in working to save and utilize the funds effectively for every aspect of it. So we're there just to help the process, but they've been instrumental in making recommendations. So this shows that diligence.
Well, I think it was a team effort, but thank you, Glenn. It was everybody working on this, and it's been weeks of months, actually, hasn't it, to get to this point?
Awesome.
Okay, so is there a motion then for us to accept an award bid package 6A and doing that with the reduction from the 1,673,633, to the reduced amount? So we're approving an award of millwork 6A for $1,533,352. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Augie, I think, seconded by Ann, if I heard right. Any discussion? If not, Marvin.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Augie.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The next order of business, now we'll move into new, unless there's any unfinished business that anybody else has from last time or any other meeting. If not, we're ready to move into new business. And as has kind of been our tradition, I guess, here the last several meetings, is the first order of new business is under 9A is change orders for main library project. And we've got 3, 6, 7, looks like 8 of them. So, well, and again, my suggestion is why don't we go ahead and our construction team here can go ahead and just take us through maybe all of them, and then I'll note all, and if it's okay with Jim again, we'll go ahead and we'll just do one motion to approve all 8 of these. If that's, unless anybody wants us to take anything and consider one separately, we can of course do that. But if not,
I kind of told them I would do it, but so are you ready? You guys ready, or you want me to do it, Glenn and Antonia?
Please, you're doing so well.
I'm doing so. Yeah, thank you.
We're here for support.
You're here for support. Thank you.
What did you think their answer was going to be?
I don't know. I paid them to say that. I'm going to skip around just a little bit as we go through, but the first one is Chambon Sons, and that's a change to eliminate the clean agent system where we used inert gas to extinguish a fire. That's for the it was in local and family history, and we're replacing it with a more commonly used pre-action system where the water is held back by a pre-action valve that opens when flames or heat or smoke is detected. So that's the first one. When the power was cut at Main Library, in addition to AEP, 2 of the library contractors worked to do repairs. So Herman Getz had $25,739 in repairs on that project, and Indiana Earth had $19,450 for a total of $45,189. We are paying that work now so the contractors aren't kept waiting, but we're also submitting a claim to AEP for reimbursement, and those dollars should be reimbursed for this change order. For Zilkowski, that one is for the limestone around the base of the main library. And when we got into the project, that limestone was in worse shape than we originally thought. So this is for repairing and patching limestone around the perimeter of the building for $33,341. That's more cost effective than a replacement would be, and we looked at both of those in the course of the project. And then there are 3 changes for the book sorter room. Originally, the team designed a window that looked into the room, and we realized at some point we didn't want that window into backroom processes anymore. It's not a really attractive view. It's not the fun thing that it was. People are kind of used to it. So you'll see for that piece, from Precision, there's a $1,750 credit for the cost of the window. And then for Goff, who's the framing contractor, there's a $2,070 add for additional carpentry. And from Oosterban, there's $224 for painting. So to remove the window is actually a total add of $544. And I think that's it.
You talk, yeah, and then the Herman and Getz and Indiana Earth are both the AEP charges.
That's both yep, that's AEP.
Okay, got it. Sure. Okay. All right. So, well, first of all, maybe before we do the motion, are there any questions from any board members or staff, anybody else that or any comments concerning any of these 8 change orders? If not, is there a...
Wait, Christine, I think.
Yeah, my mouth was moving, but I was muted. I don't have the page in front of me. What's the net change for all 8 things?
Net change is $67,897.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Net increase of $68,000. Yeah. Okay. Any other?
We seem to be doing pretty well on these changes, just kind of my gut feel. I haven't added anything up, but it seems to be that they're relatively minor so far.
So far, there's...
Uh-oh, is there something coming that we don't know?
There's something coming that we're working on, and I don't want to speak to that yet
Sure.
because we're still working it out. But yeah,
Sure.
but thanks, Augie. It's been good so far.
I like the support.
Okay. So, why don't I go ahead now? Is there a motion? And I'll go ahead and kind of set forth what the motion would be. So the motion is to approve these change orders. Shamba, we're going to, it's a change, it's a reduction of $45,875. Herman and Getz, an increase of $25,739. Mechanical Concept is an increase of $34,698. A reduction of $1,750 for Precision Wall Systems. Zilkowski is an increase of $33,341. Goff is an increase of $2,070. Ooster Mod & Sons, an increase of $224. And finally, Indiana Earth, an increase of $19,450 for a total changes. The net total changes is an increase of $67,897 as described by our executive director. So is there a motion to approve those changes?
So moved.
Okay, I heard a motion. A second. Okay, motion made Christine. Terry, I think you seconded it.
Correct.
If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call the roll. Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Anthony, Neil, and Glenn, we thank you all for everything you're doing. You're welcome to stay with us. You can even comment if you want on any of these taxpayers or public if you want. But if not, we'll go ahead and continue now with our agenda. The next item is our 2021 budget hearing pursuant to the notice to taxpayers that was properly published. So we're going to be holding a public hearing today via Zoom. So before we go ahead and I can open before I go ahead and open the public hearing, is there anything as a precursor that Deb or Nancy or anybody else wants to talk to us about before we do this open the public hearing?
Nancy, anything? I'll address a question you had earlier, Alan, which is that we have the adoption slated for an in-person meeting at Keller Park for next month. we're doing that because the governor can only declare a state of emergency 30 days at a time. And so we are going on the assumption that he may go back to in-person meetings. So that's how it looks right now. If it's a Zoom meeting, I'm guessing we can, Nancy, I don't know whether we can change that at this point. We changed the advertisement, but.
I'm not sure if I can change the advertisement of the public hearing again.
The adoption.
Because the adoption part, because they are both on the same notice to taxpayers.
Right. By the way, Nancy is in the public space of Keller Park, and there's a computer there with, you see SJCPL in the lower part of your screen. And if anybody was at the public hearing and wanted to participate, that computer is for them. So we do have an in-person space for a hearing today.
And what we may want to consider doing, Nancy, I know you're got lots of good buddies now at DLGF, and so in the Department of Local Government Finance, it might be appropriate for you to maybe reach out to them or Jim, but assuming that we do, in fact, have permission to do Zoom, I mean, I like the idea that you're there. We could, I mean, certainly if anybody would come to Keller Park and would want to participate in the public, in either at the meeting, participate in the meeting or listen to the meeting as a visitor, or even today if they happen to walk in, I'd be happy to hear them do that, and I think they could do that. So maybe with that, knowing that we've got that and they can participate, maybe that's considered. I mean, I think that's the most we could do in this situation, and if they're comfortable, that'd be great. You know, and Jim, I don't know if you have any thoughts. It sounds like, I mean, that seems like it would be a reasonable thing for us to do. Do you have any thoughts, or you kind of nodding yes? Well, I'm not asking you for a legal opinion on that, but maybe Nancy give a call to DLGF. Just let them know what we're doing, so because they'd be the ones to criticize us.
Well, there is some guidance on this. I've been putting it together, so.
Okay. Yeah.
If we have, Nancy, I think, how did you publish it for that next meeting? Is it to be published to be in person or published to be held by Zoom?
It was in person, okay, because I think, when we first put together the notice to taxpayers, I think we assumed that we would be back to in-person meetings by this time. Obviously, think that's not the case. So,
from what I can read, the governor's executive orders give you some latitude. If you've published it as an in-person meeting, we can change it to a Zoom meeting with 48 hours notice.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you can publish that. Assuming we get permission then for a Zoom, maybe we just need to, I'll leave it to Jim, but maybe we just need to publish that at the same place where we publish the notice to taxpayers or something.
Right.
Exactly.
That would seem reasonable. But I'm not allowed to give legal opinions anymore, so I'll let Jim. Martin Thornburg doesn't want me doing that as a retired partner. I'll leave that to Jim. Okay, so anyway, so with that said, is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second? Maybe we'll do a quick roll call for that, I guess. Marvin, is that okay?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
I vote aye. And so our public hearing on the 2021 budget, our budget hearing is now open to the public. If there's anybody that's present, please identify yourself, tell us your name and your address, and please speak to us. Tell us what you have to say.
It is just me in the cafeteria here.
But we'll note for the minutes that there's nobody in the public at Keller Park, and that there's nobody from the public that desires to speak. So if maybe I'll go ahead, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's go ahead and just call the roll, and then we'll finish this up. Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Martin?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The next order of business is for us to have a declaration of our fiscal body. We need to, I'll let one of you, I don't know, I could do it, but why don't you go ahead, Deb? Do you want to do it? Or Jim, or any of you all
Sure,
want to?
just a really quick. This is the result of Senate Enrolled Act 410, which mandates that every public library in Indiana declare their fiscal body in the event of a binding review for the budget. So in our case, the fiscal body is the county council. And there's a copy of this resolution on their agenda for tomorrow evening. So we're approving it today. We'll get it over to them, and then they'll take it tomorrow. And then we'll get it in by October 1st, which is the deadline.
So basically here, I think what this means is if we're going to increase our budget more than, is it 5% or what number is that?
There are a couple of ways, and Nancy, maybe you want to jump in, that we can be thrown into binding review. But if we meet any of those, then the county council would need to review our budget.
Right, and what you obviously want to do in these days of budget things, you want to avoid that if at all possible. Because so as long as we keep under those thresholds, that's what's your goal. But if it were triggered, then we would all go down there and we would do our thing and probably get an award for it, like we did, like we'll hear about later on today. We got our award for our PSAP campaign. So in any event, but that's moving ahead of ourselves. So is there a motion then for us to declare the St. Joseph County Council as our fiscal body in the event that there's any binding budget adoption is required under the applicable statutes set forth in our resolution that's a part of our board package? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
I heard motion made and seconded by Michelle. Any discussion or any questions? If not, I'll call the roll. Marvin.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Augie.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that's done. Now we need to, I don't know if we need to approve it, but we need to applaud it, that we did receive an award here recently. And Sarah, I think it looks like you were instrumental in this project, if I read correctly. So I don't
It's
know.
actually Lisa, I think, did
Lisa,
really put together the application.
I apologize.
Yeah, and probably what you need to do is just accept it. In the Indiana library community, the Sarah Laflin Marketing Award is one of the top awards given by the Library Federation. And we applied, as you mentioned earlier, Alan, based on our work with the PSAP campaign a year ago, where we were able to impact a community outcome. So the award does come with a $1,000 cash award, so we could consider it as a grant, but I kind of wanted to break it out from the other grants you're accepting today. And we also included 2 of the letters of support, one from former Common Council member Joe Broden, and the other one from Mishawaka Library Director Donna Meeks. We had some others in there as well, but I wanted to give you those 2 from public officials. So it's just a really nice thing to have won. And congratulations to Jenny and her staff for diligently working to get this campaign off the ground. It's not, I said last year, it's not very often that libraries have a chance to impact something like this in a community. And we're not done, it's gonna come back, but it didn't come back this year. So it's great.
And I'll just mention too, because Deb and I, we talk at least once or twice a month in addition to board meetings. And I've always, as Deb knows here for about 4 months here, I've probably bugged her 3 or 4 times. What's up with, are we keeping our ear to the ground with PSAP? And there were, I don't know if we've described it in our public board meetings here, but there have been, it's not that they haven't been looking at they being the various bodies that support PSAP with their dollars, have been looking at that, and they've had meetings and discussions, and our staff have been zooming in to those and keeping their ear to the ground. So they've been closely monitoring things, or trying to closely monitor. And I'll just say to everybody else, I've been trying to keep my ears open, and I've asked some people that I know are kind of involved in that. And if you all hear of anything, obviously on this whole PFAP thing, please make sure you give Deb a call.
Well, we think it's too late for them to bring it forward for 2021. They would have had to have acted in September, and there's nothing on that agenda. So for 2021, we think we're okay. And there's been an early distribution of local income tax, and there's no effect there as well, even though that's an estimate right now and not a certified distribution. But there's been no indication. And like you said, Mishawaka did have an open meeting to consider, to hear it. And they talked about forming an exploratory committee, and I don't even know that happened. I've been in touch with the other libraries, and I just don't think anything is happening this year. So anyway.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we will.
Then there's a formal motion to approve the Sarah McLaughlin Marketing Award from the Indiana Library Federation.
So moved.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor, Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
I vote aye. So congratulations again. Thank you. And then we have, it looks like we have 5 board grants, which is always nice to, move to accept these. But again, y'all want to go ahead and just briefly describe the 5?
Sure. This first one is a little late in coming because of COVID, but this one is to support the digitization project for the Tribune archives files. So they're already off to a start where they're behind where they'd like to be, but it's nice that we had the grant. There was a lot of competition this year, I think, for every piece of funding. All of these small grants that we've gotten, there's been competition with, because everybody's looking for money. The library's connecting to you. That's part of where we're going to become certified application counselors. This is part of the training that's required. So that's that $1,000. The micro grant is something that we applied for coverage in rural communities, and that's going to, we've already gotten the equipment for this one to extend the Wi-Fi at Lakeville Branch. Civic Switchboard is a project that just sort of fell into our laps, and Sarah is working on that one with Notre Dame and the City of South Bend. It's an assessment to sort of understand and provide training to improve data skills in nonprofits. And then the last one is just a reimbursement grant for CARES items that just sort of popped. And we're not sure exactly what we're going to use that for because we're buying a lot of COVID supplies, but it will help offset the cost of some of those things that we're doing.
So are there any questions regarding those 5 grants?
I do have one. The Lakeville, the micro grant.
Yeah.
For Wi-Fi access, does that expand it within the building, or are we talking about people in the area being able to access, or what is that?
Sarah, you want to take that one?
It's outside installations of Wi-Fi, so it's for the parking lot and the surrounding community, so people can gather there, use the Wi-Fi.
How far does it reach? How close do they have to be to the building?
I would say it's like a parking lot or a little bit more than that's worth of area.
Mm-hmm.
We had
and a lot of libraries didn't have it before, and so it was a big level up for them. We just improved what we had with it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions regarding those grants? If not, I don't think I need to repeat all of those but they're there, but they've been explained. But is there a motion to accept the 5 grants as described in the board packet and by our executive director?
So moved.
Okay. I saw Ann in there too, so Ann will make sure you get into the minutes. Ann and Terry,
yeah.
Go ahead. And motion made and seconded. All those in favor, Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye. And the final order of new business that I see is the monthly library board resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials and computer equipment. And I think Christine always likes to make that motion.
I do like to make this one. I would like to propose that materials sold to Friends of the Library for their book sale for the sum of $1, excluding items used by the library staff for library sales and events, and the computer equipment declared as excess.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Marvin?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry? Terry, thumbs up?
Aye.
Okay. Ann?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. So that's the last order of new business that I've got. Is there any other business that anybody have got to bring before us today? By the way, I'm just curious, we're meeting today at a different time. And I know we've set our meetings at 4:15, but I'm just curious. I do see we do have 100%. And I'm also wondering from the standpoint of staff, because I'm wondering how you all do, especially too. Meeting at 4:15 means that some of you all need to sometimes stay later and all that. So I don't know if anybody would want us to entertain an earlier start on a more regular basis. I don't mind meeting at 4:15, but I'm just curious, especially from our board members. I know you did it as an accommodation to me that I appreciate, but does anybody have any thoughts, or anybody feel strongly one way or the other? Because of course we won't do it if we've told everybody we meet at 4:15 on the first Monday. So if the time that you'd like it, anybody wants us to make sure we do that, then of course we will.
I think, Ellen, you would have to do that through the end of the year because we have to report that to the state. But if you wanted to change it, this is a good time to discuss it.
Yeah.
And we'd start in January if you were going to make a change.
Well, I think that changing it to an earlier time might mean that our representative from South Bend Schools, who will be a board member in the future, would be able to come. I know that by 3 o'clock on board meeting days, there's executive committee meetings and other things. I think having the meetings at 1:30 would be great. And I'm also thinking selfishly about driving in winter at night. So I think the earlier time would certainly be something I would like to entertain.
Well,
I would actually find that much more difficult since I'm still doing some work-related things, and
Okay.
it just having it at 4:15, I can usually get the other stuff before that, but it would just knock out an afternoon for me.
Yeah, I would second that still as a member of the Working Stiff Society. It can be difficult shuffling things around for an early afternoon meeting, but not so much for a 4:15.
Okay.
But I do wonder about entertaining the idea of moving the day. I mean, that's always, it's the day that's the problem for the South Bend School Board member. And it's been a problem for years, I think. So I don't know how hard it is to change the day.
I think all you have to do is agree, and then we have to notify proper authorities if you wanted to change it. But it's finding a time that all 7 of you can do it, I think is.
Well, let me ask a question. So first of all, we would not do it on a Friday at 4:15, I would think. So basically, from the standpoint of a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in fact, we don't have to do this now. Maybe, why don't you, if anybody has any thoughts one way or the other, or Deb, maybe we could circulate one of those,
Doodle.
type things, ask people.
Yeah.
Google poll.
If anybody, again, we've already told people in advance, Mondays are the days that we meet. So if there's any board members that find this difficult, let us know that, or impossible to move to a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But maybe we can put it out there and see if there's anybody that has a problem with it. And then if they don't, then really, it would be really up to you as staff to see if there's any other reasons why we've done this, or,
We are also trying to figure out a way to attend several of the other elected bodies. So county council, common council, and school board. And those bodies usually meet Mondays or Tuesdays. So we just ask you not to try a Monday or Tuesday, but I think for the rest of it.
Yeah, so why don't you, Deb, maybe we can just do a little search,
Sure.
in the next couple of weeks, or Rachel, whatever. Why don't you all, first of all, go ahead and research it, talk among yourselves. And if you all want to throw out a Wednesday or Thursday or both, or all of them, see if those dates work for folks. And Jim too, of course, your schedule, we want to make sure it works for you. I mean, it has to work for you as well. I mean, you're clearly a part of the board for this purpose, but yes, for sure. So,
Deb, when you're putting together the poll, not that I'm going to make it that much earlier, but even rounding it up to 4 o'clock, would that work for the working stiffs? Just moving it up even 15 minutes?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
but if not, that's okay. I mean, it is.
No, that'd be fine.
We could just meet at Notre Dame. If you have cookies. All right. If there's no other.
We got more food than you can shake a stick at, so.
There you go. All right. And I should ask if they're hearing your visitors. So before I'm asked to adjourn, let me say, are there any members of the public, members of the public are now invited to address our library board if there's any members of the public who would like to speak? And if not, are there any education and news and education items if the staff wants to report to us?
I just wanted to mention that last week we held events in several city parks leading up to Jim Gill's Saturday performance for Explore a Story. And once again, we got some really nice Tribune coverage for those events. We had a front page above the fold. We partnered with South Bend's Venues, Parks and Arts for those events. And Trish, I don't know whether we have attendance figures yet for those, but we were in a park, I think, just about every afternoon and had good weather.
5 different parks, different one every day. Thanks to Lisa for getting the Boomer vehicle arranged for us with VPA. Also, the branches all contributed. We tried to have them in parks near branches. So there were 2 on the west side where the western staff and the LaSalle staff participated. And then there was one on the south side that center staff worked that one. There was one at Potawatomi River Park. People were over there. Oh, and Keller Park was the 5th one. So that was easy, right out the back door. But yeah, it was, I don't have the numbers yet. I think Rana and I are still working on pulling that together. I went to the one Friday afternoon and it was very nice. That was the one with the dance troupes that came, different Southold and another creative dance studio. And, it had the built-in attendance of the family members of the dancers, that you have at those kind of things. But then Saturday at Jim Gill, that was at Leaper Park in the morning, just south of the tennis courts. And I was worried how cold it was going to be. I thought no one would come, but we were there and there were, not the usual Jim Gill attendance. We had, I don't know, how many, Jenny, last year? We had 300, 400 people at the Crack Center to see Jim Gill. But this year, there were probably 100. Everybody brought their blanket. They spaced out on the grass in that field. And he did his usual awesome show. And the kids all got up and danced, and it was great. So thanks, Deb, for bringing that up.
This is nice. Yeah. He's been around since our kids were little.
Right, so. Right. We have those parents who were kids coming to Jim Gill now. Their kids. Right.
That's it, Alan.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Anybody have anything?
Yeah. Hey, Alan.
Sure. Go ahead.
It is September, and we have 3 board meetings left this year. So it's time to consider our annual roast of Deb. Typically, if we can get the responses out and back That gives us time, typically in the perhaps November meeting, to have an executive session and come to our conclusions. And then, which puts us in line with December, when we can actually then do the same thing, but also do any considerations appropriate for compensation at that time.
Augie, are you, or would you be willing to?
I guess I'm volunteering, yes.
You brought it up, and I must admit, I am negligent and not even asking you or thinking about that as one of my responsibilities as board chair.
I mean, I think it worked really well last time, so.
And yeah, if you don't mind just circulating that, and if November, we want to get it out when we do, and then whenever it's the appropriate time to do it. And then thinking out loud, if we are doing the Zoom, I guess what we would do is maybe we would just, when we do the Zoom executive session, we'll talk about, Rachel, you could talk to me if I need to turn it on or if I need to turn it off, or if I need to just, maybe you just kind of go out of the room and I'll text you when we're done or something, or call you when we're done so you can turn everything off. But, but you all talk among yourselves and figure out how we can do an executive session. Assume that we would do it normally, just the board members meet. So if you can just help us figure out how to do that, that would be great. Oh, looks like everybody's, or some people are getting off.
What happened? Oh.
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
It's rearranging itself because some people left, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's so
Well,
odd.
I think they got dropped. But actually,
Augie
we do still have a quorum though. So maybe, is there a motion to adjourn? Well, we've got a quorum.
So moved.
All right,
I
so
bet the internet went out at Keller Park. It was everybody at Keller Park. They're all gone.
All right, so I tell you what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and Marvin, you vote.
Aye.
And Michelle, I still see you. Augie's gone, but so we'll pass over him. Christine,
Aye.
Gary's gone, and Ann is still here.
Aye.
And I vote aye. And Kara, if you or Lisa want to just let them know that we did actually formally adjourn. And we'll see at our next meeting again is the October 26th. I always report that. And it says Keller Park because that's what we're doing it, but we all understand in our likelihood if we're allowed to do Zoom, we'll do it by Zoom.
Good.
Yeah. All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.